bear claw being in this indictment. So with that all being said, man, we're not finna hold y'all no longer. We finna start jumping into this content, into this paperwork, because it's a lot of mistruths and it's a lot of just basically bullshit that Wack 100 has been putting into our universe. You feel me? So Dawgface and Underdog, we do appreciate y'all. And we ain't finna hold the chat no more. We finna jump right into what we supposed to. All right, here we go. And then so we gonna start off with this situation that I was playing for y'all earlier from my man Byron Blake, where you can actually see that Wack 100, and this is through government paperwork. You know, it's no slander. We're not running a smut campaign. Nobody's lying. Everything that we're saying can be fact checked through government documents and can be fact checked through this federal indictment that Wack 100 is in. Dawgface, if you ever want me to stop it, just put your hand up. I'll stop it. Same thing with you, Underdog, and we'll all mute up. Let's get into it.
That's why his name is mentioned in that document. I know yesterday's video was kind of long and people kind of got lost in the legal jargon. So we back again today, and this time we gonna do this as short and as fast as possible while giving y'all the same details and breaking down how this document proves that WAC 100 was not only a witness in Big U's case, but also how the government used statements in situations involving WAC 100 to get wiretaps for Big U's case. And we're going to go through the legal process of how this issue is dealt with in a courtroom to show y'all why he was even mentioned in these documents. With that said, let me direct your attention to this document that says witness interviews and assets. It says witness interviews have been conducted during the investigation that have been effective in gathering information about Henley's involvement with the homicide. They have also been effective in gathering information related to Henley's collection of extortion payments. Some of the interviews have also led to the recruitment of a few of the aforementioned confidential sources who have been used during this case. However, as described above, those confidential sources have taken this investigation as far as it can go and short of meeting its prosecutorial goals and objectives. So what they are doing here is they are attempting to convince the judge that using confidential sources and confidential witnesses does not serve the purpose of the investigation anymore. That strategy can no longer.
And I ain't gonna talk too much over the content, but to all y'all watching at the crib, I think that it's important when we starting off for y'all to pay attention to that. This is from a document that is specific about witnesses and assets to the case. Let's continue on to this.
Be used to take this case forward. Additionally, in my conversation with CHS1, CHS2, and other law enforcement, I have learned that Henley associates with a tight-knit circle of people who have known each other for decades. Continued interviews without court-authorized interception of the target location could unnecessarily alert the targeted communicators to the interests of law enforcement in their illegal activity. So what he's saying is, based on the information that he got from the informants, everybody who is around Big U is very close to him, and it's a tight-knit circle. Therefore, if we continue to try to interview people and try to get these people to come talk to us, then it will alert the people we are investigating that they are being investigated. This is where he starts to talk about how they can get around that and why they should be allowed to get around that. He says the interviews would also have the effect of alerting the targeted communicators and others, thereby compromising the investigation and resulting in possible destruction or concealment of documents and other evidence. Additionally, if the targeted communicators are alerted to the government's investigation, they may flee the jurisdiction in order to avoid apprehension and prosecution. For example, now, do you see it says for example? So this is an example of how an interview could alert the targeted communicator.
Hey, so Dawgface and Underdog, we was having these conversations before, and remember I was saying that it's this thing called open source reporting.
Right.
Where these dudes use these interviews. For example, the No Jumper interview where Loose Cannon admitted that he was a part of the robbery was open source reporting. And that open source reporting led to his real life indictment and maybe a real life conviction. So when you have Byron Blake breaking down these situations and explaining how Wack saying things like I chased Future through the airport, how you have Wack 100 earlier today on DJ Academics listing out a group of names of people who allegedly attacked Future, despite that information not being in nobody's paperwork, as well as nobody's actually charged with it. You can see how they're using these YouTube videos, songs, interviews, podcasts as evidence in court, and the evidence is standing with the federal government.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, we can. Yeah, you good.
Okay. So exactly what you said is exactly what's going on here. We have a situation where we have somebody trying to recognize responsibility for what they've done by saying their name hasn't directly found in any paperwork. Well, his name is always on the indictment. His name is mentioned second most behind Big U in terms of being mentioned in that indictment. He's mentioned in the first indictment, and he's certainly mentioned in the superseding indictment. One of the things I want to ask you, Rich Trapper, is
Yes,
this.
sir.
I got a crazy echo going on. Maybe my cut off. Can we mute up? Is it still echoing? No, probably not. So listen, one of the things I want to know is, so we have Wack, who has been behind the scenes committing all manners of chaos behind the scenes. Am I still echoing, y'all? Am I clear right now? No echo? Much better. Okay, yeah. So listen, we have Wack 100 behind the scenes operating as a fixer. He's operating as a person who's helping to arrange people. Now, do we totally blame him for people allowing themselves to be used by him? No, we can't, because we had to put some of the onus and responsibility on the people who are allowing themselves to be used as tools by him. But at the same time, he can no longer, and he will no longer be allowed to say that his fingerprints are not on this indictment. Go ahead, Ms. Trapper. I'm going to mute up.
You know what? And because you have to understand the level of the petty person that you're dealing with, you made a really good point. You said that he's, a fixer, and his job is to add people to these situations. So I think for a reference, it's important that we play this.
$1,000 every single month.
So what I'm about to play you guys is DJ Academics leaking Wax 100's phone call and text messages. Dawgface, this is what I was telling you about that just happened. Let me go ahead and play this for y'all so you guys can see an example in real time. Keep in mind, DJ Academics is live right now, so you can see exactly what Dawgface is talking about in a real life example.
Tagged BT Awards party. Like it's old as time, right? Gang members tried to attack Future Sierra. Like this is real. This is from 2013. Now keep in mind, all of these situations look like the West Coast was on Future's head. Okay, so they catch him in a club in 2013. They try to do something to him, and Wack supposedly catches him in 2014. So we're gonna get to that. But it says rumors circulating Sierra and Future plans to party after the 2013 BET Awards was ruined, as gang members allegedly tried to beat the brakes out of the Tony Montana rapper. One of his security guards named Roscoe was allegedly caught up in the mess, or got messed up in the melee. He was rushed to a local LA hospital. The club, the Greystone Manor, was shut down for the night following the incident, and helicopters patrolled the parking lot to make sure the area was safe. Now, Wack had told us about the story, and he basically kind of described it just like how this happened, except he gave more detail. He said, yo, they surrounded club security and everything, and basically when the gang members of LA want to do something, you have insecurity or security at the club, knowing that they live in LA, they want no sauce. So Future narrowly escapes a vicious beatdown in 2013. Now, supposedly, like for all we know this happened, and then we knew about Wack chasing him in the airport. But what was confusing is that when we went to the indictment, right? When we went to the indictment said, and let me pull up the indictment. The indictment says after Wack, hold on. Let me just give me a second. The indictment says, let's go to airport. Let's search that. Now, right? So actually, the indictment does not mention the club thing. The club thing happened in 2013. Okay. Now, so if we start thinking, it says and around 2014. Actually, this might be it. Well, anyway. Okay. Oh, here it is. In or around 2014. Okay. after Future refused to pay and ceased answering the calls, they Henley's associates, and it says Henley and his associates, which means he was there, committed violence against NDC and his associates and security for failing to show respect. Now, this is the issue with I've seen Wack talk about this a bunch, and he's like, "Yo, man, there's something else in the mix because I never said we touch Future," and he's right. He didn't touch Future, and supposedly the one in 2013, the bodyguard got fucked up, but not Future. But apparently there's another incident. So there's a third incident that the feds are talking about that doesn't involve Wack and doesn't involve that club thing that we know. But it just goes to show 3 incidents of niggas, like they were treating Future like a pinata. I don't know what was going on. Now, granted, he didn't get touched in other situations, but hold on. Here we go. Let me see. Do I got it? Maybe I do have it here. So, do we have it? So, we get confirmation. We got confirmation. Check this out, chat. Check it out. Here we go. So, remember, there's 2 incidents we know. Wack chased him in the airport, him getting surrounded and almost touched at the club, but his bodyguard got beat up. But the feds claim he got his ass whooped. Where did he get his ass whooped at? So someone reached out to Wack, and Wack sent me, the text messages of the person who finally cleared it up on when Future supposedly got his ass whooped. Check this out. So, and by the way, this is from Wack, but he's texting, like, you're gonna see this shit. It's kind of like hilarious. Yo, the fact that Wack got a nigga saved like this is crazy. WS Kripotna 99. Who the fuck saves a nigga like this? WS Kripotna, whatever. Anyway, he texts Wack and he says, Hop is the one telling.
I want to pause it right there. Hop is not mentioning this indictment in any way, shape, form, or fashion with any relation or any dealings with Future. So right now you have, through academics, when we were talking about the open source reporting, now you're giving an assailant a name to an unknown attack. This is open source reporting literally in real time.
This is classic Wack 100 behavior. He's using academics to insert a new player into the overall scheme of things. And this is what we're talking about. This is what he did with Loose Cannon. This is what he did with so many other people who he put on platforms to tell stories. And then he's using academics to insert another person's name who has not been mentioned or cited in any way, in any form of indictment. This is what the fuck I'm talking about, academics.
Shout out to academics for getting it right. Let's get into it.
He's the one that knocked out Future and Floss took his gun. So Wack says, knocked him out where? Future wasn't touched at the airport. That's cap. Then the Crip partner says, nigga, he knocked out Future at the SLS. I was there. Then
now, I don't mean to continue to jump all over the place, but Chad, I think that it's again important that we document these lies as they come back up to us. So you see that they're saying he was attacked at the SLS. For those of you guys who don't know, the SLS is a luxury hotel in downtown Los Angeles area, whatever. That's what he's saying in the text messages. This is a clip from 4 years ago. And we'll hear, this is one of the original clips when Wack first spoke about the Future situation. In this clip from 4 years ago, you will hear him admit that Future got ran down on at a club, not the SLS hotel.
Somewhere 16, you can find it on Google where them niggas had beat the shit out of Future and his security. Future ran out to LA club. Google Future gets rushed in LA club. They was on him. That's why they was on him.
Talking about Trick from Detroit.
Nah, Trick from Detroit. So, that's broke, right? So all I know is
we don't need to hear any more of that clip. That's it right there. Dawgface, Underdog, what y'all got to say?
Hey, listen, what I have to say is this. This is a quintessential example. And I hate to keep using these fat out of the words, but this is a quintessential and or typical example of how Wack 100 uses scenarios and using situations and use storytelling to rope motherfuckers in. First of all, we're only talking about this whole thing right now. We don't have any proof that the feds had any independent confirmation that this incident took place outside of Wack 100 telling these stories. We don't have a Hop who jumped on social media. We don't have who told the story and somebody picked it up out of no fucking where. We don't have a Hop being mentioned in the original, in the criminal complaint, the original indictment, nor the superseding indictment. You are injecting a new person into this shit using academics to do it. What I think about this is that Wack 100, he knows that he's dealing with people who are operating with a low degree of intelligence. So he has morphed himself into a mighty mutant ninja turtle. He's Master Splinter. This nigga's Master Splinter and these dumbass niggas to do the telling for him. And then here's what I think. I think that when you say open source, he's talking about these incidents publicly. And then when these incidents get put in the police report, he's saying he's either denying it, that he ever said anything about it at all, or he's saying, hey, well, he's trying to muddy up the waters by saying, well, I ain't the only one who knew this, but you're the only one who's talking about it. And that's key.
So that's the part that I'm talking about as far as like the activity of dry snitching, right? I believe that this dry snitching approach that Wack is doing is what him and the feds came up with as the way to feed them information, because he can't directly go at them no more because they already got their motherfucking guards up that this nigga suspect, he ratting, he telling. So what he do is he throw it out there in social media in this just I'm being interviewed type form, right? And it's kind of like clickbait too, because some of them give them that motherfucker to defend themselves. Then they get to talking. There's the implication. Put him in the indictment. You see what I'm saying? So to me, this is just like a strategy that him and the feds formed to continue to try to entrap all these suspects or the motherfuckers that they really, really want. And they, you know, that's just like, hey man, they see you keep coming with that damn blue shirt on, put a red one on, put a skirt on, like camouflage yourself. You know what I mean? Put a disguise on. And that dry snitching is the form of a disguise that this motherfucker using. And you best believe, but like in that statement where he mentioned a motherfucker named Hop name, right? That's more of a direct going straight at a motherfucker, trying to implicate him and put him in the fucking indictment, right? Or get an indictment created for him. But his main way of moving at this time that I've been seeing is this dry snitching approach. Oh, I'm just doing an interview. These motherfuckers know, but just like Dawgface say, yeah, I don't give a fuck who know. You the one telling it on social media. So you got to claim that. You got to be the author of that, because when nobody else, we didn't know about it until you got to saying something.
Hey, watch this, bro. Hey, listen. Hey, Hop, you better run for the border. Hey, Hop, I don't know who you are, but you had better run for them. I'm assuming you're a Crip, because Wack has a thing.
He ain't from nowhere. Hop ain't from nowhere.
Hey, Hop, I think you need to go lawyer up. And I think you need to, because this guy just sent some text messages. I'm sure, Hop, that you didn't know if these text messages are even real. Because I don't believe shit Wack says. But if these, but you know what? Wack has a canning ability to get motherfuckers to talk who shouldn't be talking about the motherfucking thing. So if Hop, is he a real person? Is Hop a real person? So Hop, you better go lawyer up, because this nigga just sent text messages from you and him where you are admitting and acknowledging knowledge of a criminal activity. And Hop, in your text messages, if they are real, hoping they're not, you are admitting that you were there, you had firsthand knowledge, and that you have material information about a crime that has to do with an ongoing fucking indictment.
Federal crime.
A federal crime. You better run for the fucking border, Hop.
And before we get back into this academics clip, I just want you guys to remember too, because I know we obviously the three of us being in and out of the legal system, we able to keep up with this in real quick time. Chat, please don't forget that this is not the root of the conversation. The root of the conversation is the paperwork in which we were playing in the very beginning. Throughout that paperwork, we're going to show you things like this that will just prove, as we're going through the paperwork, that Wack 100 is in fact working with the federal government in a coherent effort to get Big U an indictment, and we're just able to show you his lies in real time. So as Dawgface and Underdog both explained, as far as this open source reporting is concerned, when the paperwork says they're using things like podcasts, interviews, as Dawgface says so eloquently, as Underdog says so well, these dudes are going on the internet dry snitching and blah, blah, blah. The government calls that open, we call it dry snitching. The government calls it open source reporting, and it is able to be used in federal indictments. So things like Mr. Hop being told on, don't be surprised if you look up in 2 weeks and now Hop's mentioned in a paperwork where he was never mentioned before.
And Wack says, first they said it was a club, not a hotel. So that happened at a hotel Future was knocked out at. So now we're getting to find out. The club that—
And I want to ask this question too real quick before we go. Why do y'all think Wack lied and now is trying to clean it up from saying it was a club to now saying it's a hotel? I wonder what the reason for that is. What y'all think?
Say the question again, brother.
Why do you think that 4 years ago, Wack was so happy to say, yeah, it happened at this club? Now he's trying to change it to present day with it being at the SLS hotel.
It's either some information that has come out. Is he trying to throw us off? Obviously, whenever he moves and whenever he changes the story, it is because he knows that the story as it was told by him is exposing him in some way, and it has a connection to something that's in the paperwork that if he continues to drive down that lane will expose him as the person who's been cooperating. There's only two reasons why Wack changed stories. One, to try to confuse the situation so that people can't connect the dots with him. Or when he introduces a new place or a new subject or a new person, he's trying to rope them into the overall equation. That's the only way I see it.
they pressed him, he ran out through the kitchen. Then they knocked him out in the SLS. And then Wack sees him at the airport and chasing him. I ain't gonna lie to you, bro. They was playing Pac-Man with this nigga Future, bro. I ain't gonna cap. Everybody chasing him. Okay, so they said they knocked him out at the SLS. And he says, I already know what's one of Big U's homies telling. And it says, okay, because he was in touch with me. He says, Hop and Floss. He says, I never knew they caught Future slipping like that. He says, Future security, Hop betted them. So I guess like he put some work in. But I guess they got to Future somehow. He says, Big U was there when this happened? Yes. So that confirms exactly what we just read in the indictment. The indictment says Henley was there with his associates. It didn't say he was there with his associates at the club. It just said Rolling 60s rolled up to the club. So this is a third incident we didn't know about. But apparently, according to the feds and according to WS Crip Partner 99, who's telling Wack this stuff, no, there was another situation that happened where Future supposedly got knocked out. And by the way, you know, I guess this is going into the narrative where Wack is saying there's people within Big U's organization that's telling. That's why these stories are coming to light. Because there's a kind of a question of, did Wack story from Clubhouse or my stream get in a federal indictment because he just said it publicly?
Would that not be the definition of what we just said as open source reporting?
Yep. Now watch this, right? So now Hop name has not. Can y'all hear me? Yeah, Hop name has not even been like mentioned, right? So let's just look at it from a couple angles. One angle could be like he did put in the work and got away with it, right? But according to Wack, you ain't got away with shit because all this is happening in my house, right? So why it takes long to come out? Because that motherfucker gonna always want his cup full of motherfuckers he can tell on. Okay, that's one situation. Now let's just say that Hop ain't got nothing to do with none of this shit, right? But Wack 100 is mentioning him, right? So what Wack does, like say if my name was ringing in this, but they can't prove it. But then later on, all these years later, I didn't got my name ringing in and shooting. See, now the Fed's going to want me. You see what I'm saying? So now this is a perfect time for Wack to do the dry snitching style of telling by implementing me into something. You see what I'm saying? Because now he may even possibly tell if he have to.
And Dawgface,
why did Wack send these text messages to academics? It was to prove him to be innocent, or was it to give him more details about what took place so as to provide some clarity to academics? And if it is the second thing, why in the fuck are you trying to provide clarification to crimes associated with an ongoing criminal investigation of this magnitude? Why did he send this shit to academics? What was his point?
It's like an extension of dry snitching. Like he pushing it at him because he know he weak and he'll go to the store for him. Basically, he'll put this shit on this platform to keep it alive because they really ain't even listening to me no more. Or I didn't talk too much and I need this shit spread it from a different source to keep it alive. And sure enough, he go right on this weak nigga page and press him. And he gets to doing what he doing now, which in reality keeps the information relevant. And it's dry stitching. So now the focus is on this motherfucker. Now academic talking about it. And you know, once a certain level or a certain caliber of person say something about something, it's going to be heard even better. You know what I mean? So that's like saying that if my trap house only doing 100 grams of the boy, but I got 500 grams of some shit, then yeah, I need I need somewhere to distribute this product I have. Same thing with Wack. He need another source to distribute it so that it gets out quicker and more. And that's academic page. He been squeezing academic for years. He always like whenever he need a bigger voice, a bigger mic, check this dog. And he run right down on me. That nigga do just what he doing now. So in reality, shit, academic is also dry stitching. Even though Wack is going through this nigga, you got to be smart enough to know that nigga, you being pushed like a pawn. So motherfucker, you are in the game of chess. It's just that simple.
and before I start the content back, I'll make it even simpler than that. Loose cannon. The situation with Future, a conversation that happened on No Jumper that led to an overt act in a federal RICO. The situation where Wack told the story where it was him, academics, DJ Vlad, Adam 22, and Remo, and they did that whole like podcast. Wack told the story about Big U surrounding him in a parking lot. Remember, he was like, and I started getting off in threes. That was an overt act that has now been turned into Big U being charged with assault. So these are three examples of how the internet and how a YouTube video has led to a federal either overt act or in two situations, actual indictments in federal crimes. That's why I think he's doing it, because it will continue to lead to the federal crime. We'll get back to the root issue of the problem, but because you two gentlemen have, y'all done live a little bit longer life than I have, but I got enough common sense to know that if you're named in a federal indictment and they're breaking down in a federal indictment what open source reporting is, and you're the only name literally attached to it, and then within the exact same day, now you're naming people in an assault that you put into the internet that were never mentioned into this assault, it would be safe to assume as somebody just having common sense that you're continuing open source reporting. I'll continue.
Or did Wack like fucking feed information to the feds? His thing was these stories that just got added. I only was at the airport thing, and the other stuff they added, I never knew about Future getting beat up. So he's being told that Future got beat up, and now he's being told who would know this or let it be known. So Hop knocked him out, and Floss took the security pistol. Yes, at my hotel. And he says, yeah, I didn't know about this one. Now it makes sense. They're mixing the situation with the hotel situation. So he's saying that they're mixing the airport situation with the hotel situation where supposedly Future got knocked out. And a dude, Crip Partner, 99, says, yes, I seen it. And he said, yeah, and Hop is a co-D on the RICO. And it says, Floss is telling it'll come out during trial. I don't know who these people are. And Wack says, no, no, Wack says Floss is telling him to come out during trial. Then Crip Partner says, that's who telling. My brother got 2 kids by Hop's sister. Oh, shit. And then Wack says, Hop ain't never did no time, bro. And he got away from Big U. So right now, I could see Hop cooperating. You know? Wack got that, like, you know, cooperant radar. You know? Like, some people got a gaydar. And this nigga got a snitchdar. You feel me? So here we go. And he says, so Crip Partner 99 says, nigga, he is, Manny is... Nigga, he is, Manny is, they is. Okay, so there's a lot of cooperants. Okay. It says beer call telling 2, bro. Loose cannon 2. Yo, Wack just throwing a couple more snitches. It's like, nah, this guy snitched 2, this guy. And he said, shit, all of them. About 50 more of his homies over the years. I don't know who Bear Claw is. Damn. Yo, Crip Partner 99 put a heartbroken sign. You could tell.
Now, I want to mention this too. Nowhere in the indictment do you see anything or anywhere about Bear Claw having any type of cooperation with law enforcement. Not one piece. Not one piece. So I don't understand. So this is what I do understand. It's not for the internet, but if someone had maybe not, you know, viewed me as their equal and I wanted to be it's like, let's look at it like kids. You know, kids on the playground, they want to play Pokemon cards with you, but one kid might be like, nah, your cards ain't good enough. And now you got to go cry in the corner. If the adult version of that happened, and because you just can't simply hang around with somebody, I would feel a way too if you had a chance to, you know, be able to smut them and tear them down. Wack's issue with Bear Claw is Bear Claw never wanted Wack around. It's not because you got beat up. It's not because he took something from you. It's just because sometimes you can smell a rat before they ever eat cheese.
That broke him, bro. That broke his heart. Damn. I guess Bear Claw broke his heart. Fuck. They say, yo, Bear Claw told him to stop calling his phone. I think he wanted the extra witnesses. I think he wanted the extra witness tampering charges. He said, Loose Cannon. He said, we all knew Loose Cannon was going to tell. He was like, he was telling people, I bet. Chat. So we got some confirmation according to.
Also want to mention too, in the beginning, I don't know if you guys remember, Wack was adamant that Big U and Loose Cannon were both snitching. Neither one of these niggas are telling. Neither one of them.
Wack's exclusive source, which is WS Crip Partner 99. Don't know what it means. They're saying, let me see who they say knocked out Future. Yes, they said Hop. Whoever Hop is. It says Hop. Hop knocked out Future at the SLS. So Hop is the one telling, but he knocked out Future at the SLS, and he betted the security and took the security gun. Damn, that's crazy. All right. Okay.
Do we see we got mute up? Do we see anywhere where the name Hop is mentioned? Because is there
not for nothing like that?
Not for nothing like that. So where are we? So how is? So listen. So academics is drawing these conclusions solely from these text messages and having had a conversation with Wack 100. Because if Wack gave him these text messages, he sat down with him, or he was on a FaceTime with him, explaining what these things meant. So now we have a new player in the game, and now in his text strand, he's implicating other people. He's
2 new players, Hop and Floss. He said 2 names.
Yes. So
just the fact that academic is getting it off of just text message and spreading it like it's a fucking legal document, that's not okay.
But then this is somebody in the chat said this, and it's the same thing that I thought. So you mean to tell me on a random Thursday, Wack decides to say, you know what, academics? Let me out of the blue just send you these messages. Now we also know this too.
Yeah.
I could text this phone right here. I could say the name Dawgface and have a whole conversation with myself, and it'd be like, oh, I was talking to Dawgface. Come on, my nigga. We know how this shit works. But academics is about to go off of this, so I want to take y'all back to the original content that we were going into as far as him being proven to be a witness and to be in these being an open source reporting. Chat, I do appreciate y'all for staying focused with us. And I know that we kind of bouncing around a little bit, but the important part that we have, the importance of us showing y'all what we just showed y'all so you guys can see in real time, not examples from last week of what today looks like when Wack is actually open source reporting, as this is what we're going over in these federal indictments and these paperworks.
Example, in July 2022, the FBI Houston Division conducted a telephone interview of Cash Jones, aka Wack 100, about his interactions with a subject of their investigation. The FBI Houston Division believes C. Jones recorded the interview because the entirety of the interview was posted to YouTube the following day. Based on my training, experience, and knowledge of the investigation, I believe additional interviews of associates of the targeted communicators will not stay private and alert them to LAMTFVG's investigation of the enterprise. So right there, he's saying an example of witnesses leaking information that could alert these targeted people is Cash Jones leaking the information from the investigation with the FBI Houston Division. It also says, I believe, additional interviews. So there's already been some interviews. But anyway, let's focus on Cash Jones, right? Because something I want y'all to understand is right here in this moment, they are using Cash Jones leaking of an interview in a separate situation as a foundation for why they should be allowed to get a wiretap in this situation. Legally, you cannot do that. But let me show you how they were able to get around that. Now, first things first, just like I told you, no, the government cannot use a witness leak from a completely different, unrelated case as a generalized legal shortcut to bypass witness interviews or establish necessity for a Title III wiretap in your specific case. Meaning they cannot use the fact that Cash Jones leaked information in an FBI Houston Division investigation as a shortcut to bypass witness interviews or establish necessity for a wiretap in Big U's case. They cannot legally do that. Let's look at what these things mean. Title III necessity in case specific proof, meaning in order for them to get the wiretap, they have to prove it's necessary and they have to have case specific proof. So they can't use proof from another case, right? That alone tells you that Wack is connected to this case because they wouldn't have even been able to mention him in this paperwork if it was completely unrelated. Anyway, the necessity requirement under 18 USC 2518 1C, a Title III wiretap application must include a full and complete statement as to whether other normal investigative procedures have been tried and failed or why they reasonably appear to be unlikely to succeed or too dangerous. So in order to get a wiretap, you have to show the judge that other normal procedures have been tried and that they have failed, or that they appear to be unlikely to succeed, or they may be too dangerous, right? In your case. So in order to get this wiretap from this judge, they had to prove to him that they've already tried other things, which is why they are mentioning, hey, we have tried witness interviews, but the FBI Houston Division did an interview with this guy and he leaked the entire interview. So we don't think doing interviews is a good idea over here. But let's keep going.
Do y'all remember that conversation he put out about Jay Prince? And he swore to God that he wasn't helping. If you swear to God that it's not helping, you swear to God that this ain't to nobody's detriment, why is it an indictment against somebody? Y'all got more experience with the feds than I do. I'm listening.
So listen, let me just tell you this, Rich. I'm not listening to anything Wack says because I know that everything he's saying at this point is meant to muddy the waters. It is meant to throw people off his trail. It is meant to confuse the issue. He's bringing other people's names in it, and some of these people may have some involvement with this. But what we know is, what we're talking about is, we believe, and I believe, that he's an integral central figure in all of this shit. I just believe it. I don't trust nothing that Wack says. I don't trust his relationship with Reggie White. Wack has a long history, going back to death row days, of knowing how to maneuver into and out of situations, and he's learned how to manipulate situations to his advantage. I'm not listening to nothing Wack says, period. Whenever Wack tells a story, he's trying to throw you off, he's trying to expose you, or throw you off. 2 reasons. That's it.
So it's interesting again that you made a point of, you said he's been trying to throw us off since the death row days. I'm gonna let this play for up. You know what? I don't. Here it go. Because the internet never forgets. The internet never forgets, and I'm able to boom. Here it is right here. So just to kind of show the history again, chat. I appreciate y'all for rocking with us as we bounce around. But this is from 2006, and this is an alleged Wheeler County, Texas case. And according to rumor and legend, they'll say that this is when Wack 100 actually started officially working with the government.
What's going on? I'm Larry Hoover Jr. and I'm rocking with Street Certified News.
Shout out to Street. Man, smack that on 100. He always seems to put that profit. In part 2, we're really gonna break down this 2006 gun case.
Darren Chase, April 16th, 2005. Safety trooper Darren Chase was on a routine patrol on Interstate 40 in Wheeler County, Texas, when he would pull over a 2005 Cadillac for driving 77 in a 70-mile-per-hour speed zone. The driver, later identified as Cash McElroy Jones, stated that he was a truck driver and always ran about 5 miles over the limit. He also stated that he was en route to Tulsa, Oklahoma for a funeral. At some point during the traffic stop, the trooper would ask Cash Jones for permission to search his vehicle. After denying the request, K-9 units were called to the scene. During the search, troopers located a black rifle, black shotgun, a loaded black pistol, along with several clips and large amounts of ammunition for each gun. Following the recovery of the firearms from the vehicle, both Cash Jones and his passenger, who would later go on to be identified as his brother, would be arrested, with both men being charged with unlawful possession of a firearm by a convicted felon. Soon after this arrest, he would be briefly placed on a Fed hold before posting a $10,000 bond. Once out of jail, Wack 100 would travel back to Los Angeles, where he would continue working with Death Row Records and Suge Knight. Only 2 years later, in January 2008, police would name Knight as one of the members of the mob Pyru Street Gang in a crackdown by authorities in the city of Compton. Despite his music industry connections and now managing Ray J and rapper The Game, Wack 100's name would be left out of the crackdown. In that same year, Cash Jones, aka Wack 100, would be caught on wiretap, informing business partner Mark Stevens that the Main Street Mafia Crip leader Liddell Rawls was under investigation for the kidnapping and beating of Robert Ross, aka Stutterbox. Liddell Rawls, who prosecutors said was the leader of the Main Street Mafia Crips gang, would be accused in a criminal complaint filed in February 2011 of directing members to kidnap, beat, and rob the victim, Robert Ross. CS2 Back would play a pivotal role in that case, both helping authorities connect the dots to Del Dog via the wiretap phone calls and eventually helping Main Street beat their case.
Let's play Stutterbox talking to Wack.
This what I'm trying to figure out, though, Box. Help me understand this, because me and you both know that whole case.
He ain't finna do nothing but tell a bunch of lies. Go ahead, gentlemen.
I got a question. This is off the beaten path, but Wack, I don't hear Wack 100. I don't know, and maybe I'm wrong, but every major incident, every issue, everything of substance that I hear of him, with the exception of him being associated with Suge Knight, it's all Crip business. It's all Crip business. How can a Pyru be involved with this much knee-deep Crip business over the years? You're going to have to, I'm not from LA, but I'm confused up to this day.
So to answer your question direct, to the point, nobody, and when I say nobody, views Wack as a Pyru. What you guys view Wack as outside of the state of California, your business. What you guys view Wack outside of the city of Los Angeles, your business. I do understand how he appears to the world. But if Wack was a piece of jewelry, he's gold with brass in the middle. Period, point blank. Wack is able to be manipulated and to be used. And unfortunately, in a room full of sharks, he's a guppy. We'll just say that for the YouTube guidelines. He's a guppy. And there's nothing wrong with being a guppy because somebody has to be a guppy. They're essential to the ecosystem. But a guppy is meant to be food and or bait. That's the purpose of a guppy. That is the purpose of Wack. To be food and or bait. Suge Knight needs somebody. Wack got the money from driving trucks. Boom, he'll take care of it. The game has some legal problems. Wack may be able to move it around despite making the situation worse, but at the time, boom, he takes care of it. Blueface catches the case and he gets his chain snatched. Boom, Wack goes to the police station and fills out a police report and snitches on the dudes from San Fe 13 about Blueface getting his chain snatched. He serves a purpose amongst gang members and entertainment people who want to kind of play in the gray area because, you know, he does have the Alan Rumblat's Once Upon a Time, and I'll even be deeper than that. I'm not going to say the name, but Once Upon a Time, I was propositioned with doing business with Wack through a third party. I'll tell you about it off the camera. And that's through one of my homies who no longer associate with him, but at the time, Wack was good. He wasn't bad news yet. So he does play that role. Unfortunately for Wack, instead of making a popping ass Pyru, the Crips is who were popping at the time. Big U was popping at the time. Blueface was popping at the time. You're already running up under Big U being his lapdog. You're already running errands for him and doing things like that. Let Wack tell it he had a key to Big U's home, so forth and vice versa. Why wouldn't Big U use him to the best advantage possible? It just so happens to be the Crips were who they were. You feel me? But then I'll just also throw this. If you guys are ever bored, go to YouTube and search Bloods Press Wack 100, and you'll hear what the young Bloods think of Wack. They'll tell you. And then I'll kind of close before I jump back into it. That turns into now you get allegedly exposed for having these documents. Big U doesn't really want to deal with you anymore because maybe not you're on the wrong side of the law and your feelings are hurt. Now you want to destroy him as people with hurt feelings typically do. We know what gender of person typically does that, but you know, if you have those type of traits from that particular gender, your business. Now Wack is going into a full-blown spiraling out of control mission, and you're looking at it in the terms of a relationship like a scoring X. You know how it is when our girl don't want to see you happy with nobody else?
Idea over here. But let's keep going. Let's get to the case-specific evaluation because I said it. They can't just show that it's necessary. They have to use case-specific facts, right? So it can't be this guy leaked information in another case, so we shouldn't have to follow the procedure in our case, right? Boom. The necessity requirement must be demonstrated with facts specific to your specific investigation and the targets named in the application. What this says to me is that the reason why Wack 100 was mentioned in the application, and they mentioned that he leaked information in that other office's investigation, is because he was a witness in this investigation. And they're saying if we go and interview this witness, he's going to do the same thing to us that he did to them.
Again, chat, I don't know if y'all really caught what Byron Blake just said. This is the government. This is not my opinion. This is not what I think. This is not what I feel. This is not what I want to be true. This is the United States of America identifying, addressing, and speaking about Cash Wack 100 Jones in the term that they're using as a witness. So I'm not sure if he's unaware of these papers. I'm not sure if he's unaware of these documents. But as far as the United States government is concerned, in the case of Eugene Henley Jr. versus the United States of America, Cash McElroy Jones, aka Wack 100, is in fact named as a witness. Now, he'll argue whether it's true or not. That's not my place to debate that. I'm telling you what's on the paperwork.
Named in the application. What this says to me is that the reason why Wack 100 was mentioned in the application, and they mentioned that he leaked information in that other office's investigation, is because he was a witness in this investigation. And they're saying if we go and interview this witness, he's going to do the same thing to us that he did to them. So you should just give us a wiretap. That's what's happening right here. Yeah, as y'all see, it has to be specific to your investigation and the target's name. So if Wack 100 was not connected to Big U, y'all see it got Henley's name at the top. If Wack 100 was not connected to this investigation, if Wack 100 was not a witness in this investigation, if he was not the person that they were using to say, hey, we can't keep using our witnesses, we got to go get a wiretap now. If he was not the person, his name wouldn't even be here. It has to be case specific. So there's no reason for them to mention. And if you look at the earlier part of the document, it mentions CHS1, CHS2, who we know.
Dawgface, while you stepped away just to catch you up, I don't know if you want to speak on it, but at this point, again, this is not by my opinion, not by Underdog's opinion, not by your opinion. The United States of America, whether it be true or false, has identified Cash McElroy Jones as a witness and is referring to him as a witness in the Eugene Henley versus United States Federal RICO. That was what you walked. That's what you missed. What do you think?
How could he not be? So, in my, how could he not be? He has publicly divulged too much firsthand and or secondhand information, meaning he has told too many stories. He's recounted too many stories of having personally been involved with. And let's not, before I even say this, before there was a loose cannon, there was a Wack 100. Wack 100 was Big U's henchman. When you think about the whole thing with the future at the airport, and there's a variety of other conversations that could be had, Wack 100 ran with Crips. He ran with Big U for years before we ever heard of a loose cannon or a brick baby or anybody else. Wack 100 was Big U's right-hand man. So Wack 100 has told too many stories where it appears as if he has firsthand knowledge of criminal activity that has been cited in Big U's indictments, and he has told too many stories where he has secondhand knowledge of things, of people who have things that he have heard, which would still make him a material witness. How can he not be called? How can he not be cited? Wack 100, based on how this thing looks, he is witness number 1 or 1.5.
And that's what I think. This is why he names hot pop up, because if he can't put those situations on who they truly set on, then they're going to put it on him. The feds. That's what I'm thinking. They're going to put that on him. So therefore, and I also believe that some of the names that he's bringing up really have nothing to do with this crime that he's implicating them on, but they are sacrificial lambs because if I don't find an scapegoat, then I'm going to be the goat that get caught up. You know what I mean? So to me, I feel like for real, like he's actually at that point where he's basically trying to get like a which is like a sentence reduction or some kind of plea deal, right? And the plea deal may consist of give us something more solid than this, and we'll let your ass stay out here. But if you don't, then we're going to put you in an indictment because if you notice he has not been charged with anything yet, but he knows about everything. Just like, and if you notice, he's always present. Like if you go back some in this right here, he said that they was downstairs jumping on Future at a hotel I was at. Why are you always there, nigga? You know what I mean? So he need to be there. He need to be there. He always there. Hey, at first when he starts talking about the Big U and the LAX story, he was acting like Big U was doing it. But then he got so caught up in telling the story, he said, I pressed Future when he was with Sierra. I was the one that went through the fucking the bridge at the fucking airport. Future made the call, throw the phone to me. I talked to Stunner Man. He always say so. But that's the implication part right there, where he got like, well, damn, I implicated myself, or I didn't told him myself. Oh, I'm looking for a sacrificial lamb. He knows so many motherfuckers, and you best believe, So now, why is Big U that's being added to Big U's indictment when you tell the story, bitch? You always saying you. You said I. How the fuck that turns into a Big U, Big U, Big U? You said I, bitch. You should be charged at this point, but he's not, and that's crazy. But that's the kind of courtesy that is extended to a significant informant.
So, Underdog, to your point, you asked a really good question. Why is he doing this? It's going to be explained into this. Everything you just said is about to come out in his paperwork, so y'all both see what's going to happen. It's going to come out in this clip. I done watched it 10 times. But take it back to the last clip I showed about academics, and Wack is listing off all them fucking names. There you go, the sacrificial lamb that you spoke of. Here go two of them. You gonna say something, Dawgface? You want me to get back to it?
And he's so smart in his distribution of it. He only gonna give it to him according to stay relevant with them, because as long as he feed them information, I just like if I got $100,000, you say I need $100,000, but if I give it to you right now, it's over with. You gonna make a decision on me, so I'm gonna bird feed your ass that $100,000 just so that I stay in the game longer. It's a heavy game plan, but
informants in this case, and other law enforcement. And then it mentions none other than Wack 100. But let's keep going, because there's something else that you have to see, which is called the exhaustion of alternatives. Now, when it comes to this, law enforcement must explain why standard techniques such as physical surveillance, grand jury subpoenas, undercover agents, or interviewing specific witnesses will not work or are too dangerous in your case. So once again, they have to list why interviewing specific witnesses will not work or too dangerous in your case. So when you see Wack 100's name and they saying we can't interview this specific witness, it won't work because he's going to leak the information. That tells you again, Wack 100 is considered a witness. I know I sound repetitive, but I'm going over each category and tying it back to this so y'all can see exactly, how this is coming together. Now, let's discuss why a remote leak does not apply. No blanket exemptions, okay? A leak by a witness in an entirely separate proceeding does not legally or logically prove that a witness in your current distinct case will leak information, or that interviewing people connected to you in your case is inherently unavailable or safe. So you cannot bring in the fact that this happened in another case and use that, because the burden is you have to prove that it won't work in my case. In this specific, in United States versus Henley, they have to prove that interviewing witnesses won't work. The example they are using is, hey, we have this witness that's leaking information. Risk of suppression, right? And this,
Y'all people, they keep calling that nigga a witness.
Yeah, hey, listen. So when you consider the fact that he ran right to YouTube, ran right to Clubhouse, when the so-called federal agent called to ask him questions about J. Prince Sr., that just really speaks to what this subject is about right here. Right? We can't trust this son of a bitch. This son of a bitch is a wild card. We can't trust him. So maybe I'm missing something. So because we can't trust the normal course of procedure.
You seeing what you saying?
Right. Because we can't trust the normal course of procedure. So we want a wiretap. We want authorization for Title III to get electronic surveillance, because in this situation we can't use normal means of investigation because we even have confidential sources and people who may be friendly to us who may leak certain parts of the investigation, and we can't have that. Is that what we saying? Do you understand what that means? If that's what we saying, that means
watch
that
the Dawgface.
don't even trust this nigga.
Hey, watch the Dawgface. You own it, right? Now watch this, right? And this, I'm kind of like thinking outside the box type shit, right? Now watch this. They say that the wiretapping, another form of it is also digital communication, right? So when you throw clickbait on your YouTube and a suspect grab it and tell on himself, can you see that being like a form or a modern day a form of a wiretapping? You ain't catch it?
Yeah, I mean, so
watch this.
What this does is it really showcases how manipulative and how cunning Wack 100 is. This nigga, he was born out of due season. They needed Wack 100s. They needed Wack 100 back in 1961 when they came with the RICO shit. 67 when they needed this nigga back in COINTELPRO days, because this nigga has taken ratting and taken cooperation to a higher level, unlike anything we've ever seen before. We ain't never seen no shit like this before. Not in modern time. We only heard about shit like this going back when they was trying to overthrow the Black Panther Party and the Black Liberation Army. We ain't heard no shit like this in modern history.
Hey, you know that wiretap is a form of recording, right? If you get on that motherfucking YouTube talking about a fucking case that I implicated you on, and you in it, that's a recording. It's like an entrapment, but it's like another form of wiretapping, because we have you recorded and you just incriminated yourself. It's just a thought, bro.
Real quick, I want to play this for y'all. Wack will tell you that open source reporting isn't a thing. We're all familiar with the former president, Richard Nixon. Richard Nixon actually had open source reporting used against him. So I'm going to play this audio for y'all real quick from ChatGPT to give you an understanding of what happened to the fucking president.
If you're referring to open source reporting, OSR, meaning information gathered from publicly available sources such as newspapers, television, public records, interviews, and public statements, then Watergate is one of the most famous examples of open source information playing a major role in exposing wrongdoing. Here's the short version. Investigative journalists, most famously Bob Woodward and Carl Bernstein, pieced together information from public records, court filings, interviews, and confidential sources to reveal the Watergate cover-up. Congressional hearings were televised, making witness testimony public and allowing anyone, including investigators, to analyze what was said. Nixon's own public statements were compared against other evidence, and inconsistencies became part of the investigation. Later, White House tape recordings and other official records provided direct evidence that corroborated parts of the investigation and ultimately contributed to Nixon's resignation. So while Nixon was not prosecuted based solely on open source reporting, publicly available information and investigative journalism were crucial in uncovering facts, identifying leads, and helping investigators build the case that was later supported by witness testimony, subpoenas, and official evidence.
So to your point, Underdog, the reason why we're seeing this in modern day is because back in Richard Nixon's days, they had newspaper articles which did the same shit that we now just do on YouTube. YouTube just wasn't out yet.
That's my point. That's my point right there, bro. That's my point right there. And that's why he's so active. He's so active on that motherfucker, because this is his style. This is his, like I was saying on my YouTube page, you got a smart snitch, you got a dumb snitch, you got a cocky and an arrogant snitch, but you also got a dry snitch. This is the platform that this dry snitch is moving on.
So I'm about to get back to the content, but I'm going to just say this. For those of y'all who don't believe open source reporting is a real thing, why is it appropriate for Richard Nixon but not Wack 100?
This is why I said in my video yesterday that if things went the way Wack wants us to believe that they went, then Big U is about to get this whole wiretap thrown out. If federal agents or prosecutors insert generic boilerplate arguments or rely on unrelated external events to pretend they satisfy the exhaustion requirements of your case without actually evaluating local realities, the defense can move to suppress the wiretap evidence. You see what I'm saying? It has to be specific to your case. The fact that they are mentioning Wack 100 in this paperwork as a reason why they can't interview witnesses, and Wack is not related to this at all, as he claims, then Big U has automatic grounds to get his wiretap suppressed. Again, it says, if federal agents or prosecutors insert generic boilerplate arguments or rely on unrelated external events to pretend they satisfied the exhaustion requirement for your case without actually evaluating local realities, the defense can move to suppress the wiretap evidence for failing the statutory necessity test. So this is statutory. You have to prove necessity. Now ask yourself, how does saying that Wack 100 leaked information in a different investigation prove that it's necessary to skip over interviews and just do wiretaps in this investigation unless Wack is a target as far as being a witness? If Wack is not the witness that they are referring to, not being able to interview. Now, I know some of y'all gonna get lost and say, okay, well, if they saying they can't interview Wack, how is Wack an informant? Let me break this down to you. I want to direct your attention back to the original complaint filed in Big U's case, where it details this alleged robbery that happened to victim 1. And victim 1 was later instructed to pull up on Big U, and Big U told him that's how you rob yourself, and demanded $10,000 from victim 1 to ensure that other robberies did not occur. Of course, this is all after allegedly giving victim 1.
And again, they're going to break this down a little bit more, but just for those of you guys who are unaware, this literal indictment is the story from Loose Cannon being on No Jumper, and this is what led to the whole BS in the first place.
Back the stuff that he was robbed for. Now, Loose Cannon, who is identified as Williams in this indictment, later admitted to this robbery and the aftermath on a podcast, on the No Jumper podcast, after stating that Williams was Henley's right-hand man. Williams explained, so basically, he'll manipulate things. We'll go and do something, and then the same niggas we do it to show up at the house like 10 minutes later as we trying to count everything. So he's basically saying we go hit a lick, and then as soon as we pull the move, the people that we took it from pull up on us. We be confused, like how? Williams then said that Henley would state, well, we just gonna give like 40,000 back. Wack 100, listen to what it says. Wack 100, who is a rival counterpart of Henley's for the Bloods, was also on the podcast. See how they clearly mention his name? It's nothing. They clearly state who they are talking about that said this. Anyway, it says, Wack 100, who is a rival counterpart of Henley's for the Bloods, was also on the podcast and stated, you know why he wanted to give dude back the 40, right? So they using Wack's words to corroborate the MO.
Go ahead, Dawgface.
So what is all this shit? So what are all these Wackisha defenders talking about? Oh, he's not in the indictment. These are all Crips who's doing all this. Ain't no rules on the indictment. It's all Crips. Hey, listen.
You ain't heard of Crips and shit.
And so listen, even though you have a Loose Cannon, who's a Crip, Wack, he's not? Now come on,
nigga.
You need to be throwing Crips out because you don't like.
He from the same community. He claimed the same community I'm from. This nigga's from fucking San Bernardino County.
So why is he allowed to run around claiming this?
Y'all have to remember. Okay, let's put it to you like I'm gonna give it to you the best way. You familiar with Chicago? Niggas claim Chicago, but really hide out in Evanston. How you gonna get to him if he in Evanston? What we gonna do to him? The nigga in Evanston. How we gonna get him?
But he was running around with Big U for years, though. The last couple of years of the indictment.
You didn't see him doing nothing creepy.
No, I just seen him doing shit that had nothing to do. I mean, shit, listen. So
you didn't see him doing nothing gangland. He just being a goof.
So let me say this. So he was using Crip language in his speech, but that doesn't mean that he was actually in Crip business. He was in Big U's business, working as a liaison or as a henchman for Big U. So that doesn't mean that he's a Crip because he's working with a Crip to do Crip shit. Or no. How does that work?
I'll put it to you like this. I was in Atlanta and somebody asked a question, when did I have my dealings with the feds? 2019. I was in Atlanta getting money. I'm not no Atlanta nigga. I was just around and I was allowed to occupy that space because I brought something of value to the situation. They never put me in a business. I was never in no Atlanta beef. I never slew in when niggas is doing the YFN, Lucci, all that junk. Like, I don't even know what you niggas is talking about. I provide a service that allows me to get some money right here. Y'all cool with the service I provide for me to pay my taxes to get my chili right here. That's it and that's all. It don't make me a part of nothing they got going on. I'm just a nigga who right here providing a service and I'm done when I'm done. And I'm disposable just like that nigga's disposable.
I can go for that. I can go for that except for all the goddamn Crip language, respectfully. And I never heard nobody who was standing on real Crip business challenge him or question whether or not he was official.
With everything you see going on, who the fuck gonna get on the camera and talk about this federal ass shit and end up in that RICO?
So listen, do me a favor, bro. So over the course of the last couple of years, every time we have, listen, I have had major questions about what Wack's relationship or what his, because it seems to me and to everybody else who's not blind, deaf, and dumb, that he has a thing for trying to take down Crips. To me, it doesn't matter what set.
It's the 60s. 60s.
Uh-huh.
He don't beef with Crips. He beef with the 60s.
Is it true that that's because his wife, Kimberly, is in a relationship, was getting hit from the back by a 60s? Is that true? Or is that just rumor?
Nigga in that thing with his leg.
Y'all wrong. Y'all wrong, man.
Hitting the Dougie like Rico and paying in full. Driving that black S550 Benz, sliding down the old road, all that, yeah.
So are you telling me on this podcast here and right now that Wack 100, one of his major motivations is the grudge he's holding against the 60s because somebody from the 60s is fucking his soon-to-be ex-wife? I know you ain't saying no shit like that.
Bow, hit it from the back. Bow, hit it from the back.
So all of this planning, orchestrating, sneaking, master splinter activity, all this Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle shit is about ego and pride and hurt feelings.
Him so sad. Him a sad little boy. Him a sad little boy. Him thought that he was going to be able to be cool with Big U. And him thought that he had a good pass. And him thought that he was going to be able to slide around. So he doing these little interviews where they got Big U and Wack sitting there. And then they say, hey, Big U, who do you respect as the top blood in L.A.? And Big U looks at Wack and he says, Suge Knight. But then Wack, because Wack, he cuddly in the middle. They ask Wack the same question. He get on his knees and say, Big U. But how you think he felt after Big U said Suge Knight when his answer was Big U? It's all feelings, because it ain't no money. Because what you ain't heard in none of this is any exchange of money, of any exchange of narcotics, of any exchange of firearms. You see no profit in this. All you hear is my feelings is hurt, so I'm telling.
Right here, Wack is explaining to Loose Cannon and the people viewing the podcast why Big U, because Loose is saying, man, he'll be like, well, we just gonna give back 40,000. And now Wack is saying, you know why he was saying why he wanted to give dude the 40, right? Because he was gonna charge him 20 for getting it back. So they're using Wack's words in the original complaint right there. Fast forward to 2026 and a new indictment has been filed. This time, they are clearly using Wack's words, you know, and this is a new overt act that has been added to this racketeering charge. What you have to understand is these are charged acts, but they are charged as acts committed in furtherance of the racketeering. So the racketeering is the actual federal statute that he's charged under. And then that way they can just inculpate all of these different acts and things that he's allegedly done and put them all under one charge instead of having to charge him with 200 different statutes. Anyway, they are clearly using his words and information that he put on the internet once again. This is called open source reporting. Now, this is where it gets really tricky too. Now, let's be very clear about this because I want y'all to know that I know what I'm talking about. And I want y'all to know what y'all talking about when y'all say this. So to answer the questions, yes, if the interview was published in a newspaper, magazine, podcast, TV broadcast, or public website, that's considered open source intelligence. Now, here's how you can tell the difference based on where the government got the quote. It is open source reporting if the interview was public, the witness spoke to a journalist, a blogger, or posted a video online.
Do this sound like No Jumper to y'all?
Now let's discuss why it's used. Prosecutors can simply read the article or watch the video and quote it in the indictment. They do not need to interview the person themselves because the person already made the statement publicly. So by all standards, definition, all they have to do is watch your interview.
So the prosecutor, the federal government don't need to interview the witness. So we talked about the whole future thing, right? So the prosecutor doesn't need to interview any witnesses. When they hear a story on a platform such as No Jumper, all they have to do is hear it and hear the names associated with it, and then they can use that as justification or as their reasoning why they're incorporating that particular act as it's described as the overt act.
Man, dry snitching, aka overt act.
So that means that his words on these podcasts are even more critical. And he knows this.
I said that. I called it dry snitching, but that's not the proper term, but that's exactly what it is. How he using that platform to implicate and then trapping witnesses in there. Cause oh man, that's heavy.
Hey Trap, we need that. We need this clipped out. Because this right here needs to be sent to academics. And let's just say they don't know how their platform has been weaponized. Let's say they don't know. This needs to be clipped out. So can you, what timestamp? 122? This shit needs to be sent to academics, Poetic Flacco, and Adam 22 specifically. So they can't, from this point forward, if they didn't know, they know now. So when they're acting incredulous about, well, what do you mean he's using our platform?
Dog, why you put that rat trap out there like that, bro? That is the rat trap. When they get that.
Oh, my bad, Underdog. Where?
I said that is the rat trap. That is the ultimate rat trap. Where do the rat run from there?
So, I spoke with Adam 22 last week on No Jumper. I gave him a call. We spoke about this exact same situation. On the phone with me, Adam 22 had the common sense that God gave us all. In front of Wack, I guess he must have forgot the common sense in the car. With that all being said, you will never, and when I say never, if one of my chats, somebody in my chats, one of my mods can run that clip for me, I'd appreciate it. Send me a screenshot to my Instagram. I appreciate you. Ike Turner Hands, I'd appreciate you real quick, my nigga, if you did it. Charlie Brown. I say all that to say this. Flacco, you're not going to get him to talk bad about Wack. If you can, Dawgface, get academics into this chat. See if you can get academics into the, send him the link. See if he'll join us for 5 minutes. Because all we need is 5 minutes. But if you give them an opportunity to judge a clip without having to be held accountable by the people, they're going to tap dance all around. It's going to be a Chris Brown concert how they dance. Now, I'll give academics this. I believe in my heart that if academics is on here with us, he won't play the game. He'll keep it real. But by himself, he's going to maintain the protection of that relationship. What y'all think?
Yeah, he ain't coming then. He ain't gonna pop up if he can't wiggle how he like to wiggle. He ain't popping up. He ain't letting you corner him. Is you crazy? You know he way too smart for that shit.
So with academics being live, Dawgface, send him the link, man. See if you can get him over here. You know what I'm saying? And we can go for it like that. Cause I just sent this message far and wide. There it go.
He ain't coming.
I've been talking about this for the last 4 years. And up until last week or the week before last, everybody was calling me crazy. So God willing. And on the same token, I'll do my part. Let me send it to Adam 22 and we'll keep the content going.
Person already made the statement publicly. So by all standards, definition, all they have to do is watch your interview. And if you say something on there, then they can use it. They don't have to talk to you at all. But let's keep going because this statement can be used to establish probable cause in an indictment. And I want to explain to y'all exactly how it's used. And I want y'all to also understand that the threshold for probable cause for an indictment is not the same as reasonable doubt. You know, it's two different standards. One, the standard that they have to use just to get you charged is nowhere near the standard that they have to meet in order to get you convicted. So again, all they have to do is take this guy's words and say, hey, we believe this may have happened because this dude said it happened. Let's charge him with this. You know, we've gathered up some information and, you know, let's put this case out here. They take it to a judge, get it signed on. But now let me explain to you why this is admissible. Because this interview happened on No Jumper and it was completely public, it is 100% open source reporting. In modern federal prosecutions, the government routinely combs through media, articles, podcasts, YouTube interviews, press releases, and social media posts to build their cases. So this is not an uncommon thing in today's times. Actually, this same prosecutor's office, United States Attorney's Office, the Central District of California, is the same office that's handling Dirk's case. And if you've watched Dirk's case, they've very openly stated that they use open source reporting, you know, to gather the intelligence, which is why people like Trapper Ross came up and they actually used the academics interview, you know, so this is common with this office for sure. Anyway, to get an indictment, prosecutors only need to show a grand jury that there is probable cause a crime occurred. Public statements made by people around you, even if they haven't talked to the police, can legally be used to help build that baseline narrative. So once again, Wack has been online talking about his history with Big U, how he knows his wife and all of this stuff. And all that's doing is just establishing credibility. So when he comes out and says certain things, then they like, okay, this is, you know, in one document, he's listed as a rival counterpart. In another document, he's listed as a co-conspirator. This is just something that they doing to muddy the waters, but it's also establishing how these two have a history with each other. And there has been conflict within that, you know, that time frame. Locking in a narrative by putting a person's public quotes directly into your indictment, the government is signaling to that person, hey, we saw what you said publicly, and we gonna hold you to that if we call you to testify. If we called you into trial, we expect you to say the same thing that you said. We ain't no.
Go ahead, Dawgface. Let that shit rip. Go ahead. I see it on you.
At this point, respectfully, I mean, so listen, Wack 100 will go down. Wack 100 is the modern version of the hip hop police. That's what he is. Even though this shit really has nothing to do with hip hop, but because he's operating under the guise of being a manager, right? We know that his temperament and his ego, and we know that his history of bad acts and his history of using people to manipulate them, it overqualifies him to know that the shit he's doing right now is wrong. So that's one thing. Does he know, Trap? Does he know and understand, or is he just clumsily walking into this, stumbling into this shit? I don't think anybody believes, based on just examining his behavior, I don't think anybody believes that Wack is just stumbling into this federal indictment, not knowing what the fuck is going on.
You know what, Dawgface? That is an amazing question. And I want to take y'all to this because hey, remember I told you on the phone, I got a clip to back up everything I say. And with the people who we dealing with, you kind of got to have a clip to back up everything you say. You feel me? But real quick, let me see. Wack 100 speaks on Munchie B, Draco, KO, Killer. So you remember when Munchie B made the comment about passing a bottle to so and so? You feel me? Blah 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 blah. Wack 100 made a comment about Munchie B. Let's see if I can find it. Wack 100 made a comment about Munchie B, basically saying how Munchie B's an idiot for, you know, talking about the Draco situation. Let me see if we can play this.
Detected picture and phone number on the screen, nigga.
That's a fact.
I don't know what the Flacco got going on over there. What I do know is you been running Flacco information. You over there got happy because he was the one helping you get on the No Jumper platform, nigga. You over there, what you telling Flacco? Flacco mentioned the shit about Rose Mo. Nigga, that's 2012. We dropped
Right.
Jesus Peace 2013. How you trying to put it on everybody but you when everything we talking about came out of your mouth?
That was literally the exact quote. Look, Dawgface, I've been doing this shit on this nigga so long. I know a video to go to and right to the timestamp. He just said everything Munchie B is wrong for is because it came out of Munchie B's mouth. Well, are we not listening to everything that came out of Wack's mouth?
Listen, how do you catch a rat? You said rat traps. We know rats are, they don't really, their bones are extremely flexible, right? They can squeeze through the smallest and the tightest places. What has to happen with somebody like Wack is that he has to be cornered like this. You have to be, whenever you're speaking on this shit, right? You have to understand law, one, and you have to understand the streets and how the streets work. If you don't, if you suck at either one of those things, he will slip out of your grasp and scurry up under the ground. It's as simple as that. And so you can't get into a conversation about Wack and his behavior without having these things at the ready to use them to point out to people who still fucking slow as fuck. I call them window lickers, pickle pig feet eating ass niggas. You have to have this, or he gonna slip out your grass every time.
And again, to the chat, I will constantly apologize because I don't mean to treat y'all like y'all slow. I'm not treating y'all like y'all slow. But like Dawgface said, when you have somebody that's so comfortably spinning narratives and has the assistance of the major platforms in our universe, allowing him to spin the narrative, you do have to be able to back up all your claims with facts. It's like what they teach you in school. When you write an essay, you got to cite your sources. And that's all we're doing. But let's continue on. Underdog, you want to say something?
Yeah, I just want to say that, you know, when you lay that rat trap, you know, one of the most important things to catch them is to know how they move. You know, once you set that rat trap in that direction that he moves in constantly, that's how you catch him. Because let's just say that, you know, the mice don't never go in the kitchen, but he always in the living room. It ain't gonna make no sense to put the motherfucking mouse trap in the kitchen. He ain't going to no kitchen. That's not how he move.
Getting up here pleading the fifth or none of that, because you are not facing any charges, so there's no right against self-incrimination. We already have the statements. This is what they are doing for him in exchange for him doing this. This is why he hasn't been charged. Everybody's saying, how is he a co-conspirator and not charged? He's not charged because he continues to provide them information from for the last 4 or 5 years. We've seen it. Open source reporting on Big U daily from him, Eddie Boy, 600, all of these different guys. We've seen it. So what they are doing, they just sitting back watching and like, okay, he keep feeding us information, you know, and at this point they have so much of the information, they can just go back and find different little things. I'm sure they could probably charge Big U with a ton of stuff based off things that Wack has said, but there has to be, you know, somewhere where they draw the line, because then you may upset the court. So, you know, they probably just sitting back on a ton of overt acts like, yeah, well, we just gonna add this or take this out if the case started looking shaky. But in any case, they are using Wack 100 clearly. That's why his name is mentioned in that document. That's what I was saying in the video yesterday, but I get it. The video is kind of long. A lot of people don't have that much time to sit around and watch or listen. And a lot of people are doing reaction videos to my videos, and reacting to an hour-long video is probably like a 3-hour segment. So I wanted to bring this back for y'all, break it down as shortly. I thought I would be able to do it in 10 minutes, but I wanted it to be thorough too, because I want a person who has no knowledge of the law to be able to understand exactly what's going on. He's feeding them information. And because he's feeding them information and they are able to use this information to continuously put charges on Big U, then they don't see a need to lock him up. Locking him up would make him shut up. And then, you know, that would lead to them having less information. At the same time, this tells me that the information that they already have on Big U, they don't feel like it's enough. With that said, I'm gonna wrap this one up, man. I hope that this was pretty.
All right, y'all. So before we go on to the next clip, that was Byron Blake breaking down that Wack is in fact named as a witness as of today, according to Byron Blake, as it being Thursday, August 6th, 8:30 in South Central Los Angeles. Wack is officially named as a witness in Big U's case, and it's looking as if Wack 100 doesn't testify to his own statements that he gave on the internet, he may in fact find himself a suspect and a part of this indictment as well. Does that sound pretty accurate to y'all? So, with that one being said,
it's 100% accurate. And listen, we get to the point now where the fact that we have to argue this is pretty draining, because the amount of brain power we have to expend on this shit, when it should be obvious to just a casual observer, this shit, I can see why motherfuckers get frustrated. I can see, because Wack, he's able to wear down the average person. I can see why he's able to wear down motherfuckers, because he's playing so many games and he has so much help from people who are in positions of power and influence. And on top of that, he's going to try to take your page once you get too hot on this trail.
So for the weak, he's intimidating. And that's really how I look at him, because I know that, you know, this shit's so cut and dry. And you wonder why people ain't taking the stance. It's because they weak and he intimidating. And I get it. You know, you can have all the money in the world, but if the bully come, it's like Debo, they put the chain up. They gonna whack, put the chain up, you know. So like one of his characteristics is to intimidate. And he intimidates you and back you right in the wall, which is where he wants you at, so he can put you in a situation.
That's pretty much how the situation go. And like you guys said, I can understand how, especially people who don't come from the streets, because let's be transparent here. We all watching the same. Between the three of us, we got 423 people in here. If it's 423 people in here, it's 400 people who will never see anybody's jail cell. Let's keep that shit 100. They'll never see it. If it's 400 people in here who have never seen nobody's jail cell, it's 300 people in here who are walking away from every sort of physical altercation, every sort of verbal altercation, because the average person is not fighting or arguing on the streets, because low key, only we're taught that in the animalistic situations that we come from. The average normal person, we all fathers. None of us are going to teach our children to argue and fight in the streets. You better walk away from that shit. So the average person on the internet will, you know, kind of be willing to spin towards Wack and on Wack's behalf. And that's mainly due to the fact that Wack 100 is loud. Like you said, he's intimidating. And even deeper than that, if you don't care for Wack, that's one thing. But then how are you going to go to battle with the academics and the Adam 22s and, you know what I'm saying, all that kind of shit? You feel me? All those things are against you. And those are influential voices. If they weren't influential voices, they wouldn't be in the positions that they were in. All right, y'all. So I'm finna go into this next one before we get up out of here for the night. And don't worry, chat. We'll be back for some more, man. Me and Dawgface had exchanged information. Underdog, I'm gonna get your information too. You feel me? We're gonna chop it up and we'll be back because there's a lot of things that we could break down about this case, but I know it's a lot to just uncover in one night. But before we get up out of here, I do want to go into one of the hotter topics of Wack 100 chasing Future. Because my biggest question is, why is Wack, not being charged with this when he's the one who has the admission of guilt? And he, out of his own mouth, said that, Big U never chased this nigga. You feel me? So I'm trying to find a quick little clip to where Wack is talking to DJ Academics, and Wack is making it clear that, no, I never chased Future. I never chased Future. Let me see this real quick. Because Wack is now maintaining that it was a little trot, or whatever the case may be, and he's maintaining, let me see, he's probably talking out of 22. He's also maintaining that he never said that Future got hands laid on him, despite the fact that we've seen all these situations. Here it is.
Yo, remember when Wack 100 kept saying Future got?
Oh, you know what? That's not it. I'm sorry. Let me see. Okay.
Why were you pressing Doughboy on Clubhouse, and why did you say fuck him and Future? That was the highlight clip.
Well, see, that's what I'm saying. Once again, like, my response is always all they see and all they hear. So
this all goes back to Future and you allegedly getting into an altercation at LAX. What was it?
Yeah, I got content I could have showed. I just let it go. But Rockstar from Hip Hop Trends calls me. I'm at home. Bro, what up? Hey man, Doughboy is coming to my room.
And real quick, for those of y'all asking why we not playing the Rockstar content, because if I wanted to talk to one of Wack's baby's mamas, I'll just call Kim.
Room, he's a rapper. I want you to come in and build with him.
Right.
My first response is, who is that? I didn't know who he was. Respectfully.
Right.
He he one of Future's artists. That's all right, cool. So when I come in the room, they talking about songs. I guess he had a project coming out. I chimed in. I asked him, hey, what's your stage name? I go to Spotify and look him up. I said, oh man, you got some pretty strong numbers. You know what I mean? So I'm listening to one of the songs, and he's like, hey man, let me ask you a question. I'm thinking we building on some music. Yo, what's up with you and Pluto? I'm like, me and who?
Right.
Because Rockstar didn't ask me to come build with, some
Rockstar's a shit stir. He knew exactly what he was doing, don't you think?
I don't know, because I don't know the dude.
Right.
So, I'm like, when he asked me again, see, that's the problem. Dude, my son age. So why I come from my era, when you ask me about me and another man's business, that's like a form of attempting to check a man. So off the rip, I'm going to tell him, man, don't ask me nothing about me and what we got going on.
Right.
Now, I didn't already got a call from one of my big brothers to leave that alone with Future.
Okay.
So I've been left it alone. I didn't talk about it. And I told him.
It's extremely interesting. And I like that Wack said this, because Wack is saying, as we all heard, well, my brother told me, and now he's omitting the name of his brother. You feel me? Now he don't want to talk about who his brother is. But let's see, Birdman, Wack 100, Future. Boom, it popped right up.
It's a long drop down here, right? He throws the phone at me on speaker. All I hear is Stunner voice. He say, Wack, it's me, Stunner. Talk to me. I say, Stunner, I'm busy right now. He said, yeah, but I don't want you to be, nephew. What's going on?
Would he still be considered a gangster if he didn't used to run? But he used to run a heroin empire and he got a ton of people.
It's a long drop down here, right? He throws the phone at me on speaker. All I hear is Stunner voice. He say, Wack, it's me, Stunner. Talk to me. I say, Stunner, I'm busy right now. He said, yeah, but I don't want you to be, nephew. What's going on? I say, oh, trick a bag, man. He can't be in our backyard, and he owe bro a bag. Either he gonna pay, or he finna get ducked, and then he gonna pay, right? Trick at home sleep. He don't know what's going on here.
So by Wack's own admission, now he's saying my brother. By his admission, he said Stunner's name 3 times. I counted it. Y'all seen me use my fingers. In addition to that, where the extortion comes in, I can loan Dawgface $10. Dawgface, you gonna pay me back my $10, or I'm gonna F you up, and then you gonna pay me back my $10. That's what makes it extortion. Oh geez, am I tripping, or did I pretty much make it as simple as it could be made?
If it gets any simpler than that, then it's like
we slow then. Yeah. It gets simple than that, we slow.
Check your text message. I got a surprise in there for you. Thank me later. No, Trap. No, look in there. Look at it. Was a change made. It was a change made legally.
The house has to be in Rakita Bradford's name because if it's in Cash McElroy Jones' name, he has over $20 million worth of debt and they'll seize the house. That's why it was in Kim's name before he took it from her name.
No. Look closer. Look closer.
Landon.
Who the fuck is that?
That's him.
Oh, that's the bullshit name?
Yes. No, I'm a digging motherfucker.
Yeah, see, we already knew about the home. I knew about that already. You feel me? Because he is, what's the old saying they should say? You don't defecate where you eat. He just on the toilet with a big old pot going crazy. Going crazy. Shout out to his son, though. We love that for him. Live your truth, brother.
Hey, bro, listen, I don't even want to discuss that. I got a call from bro. Leave that shit alone. Boom. But he was adamant to keep going on. So now I'm like, so Birdman.
The nigga just said Birdman name again on No Jumper. But my question to y'all is, if Birdman is being brought up, is he like an accessory after the fact? Is he an accessory to extortion after the fact? What criminal role could he play in this?
He is a material witness. He wouldn't be criminally charged because he would be stepping in to act as a protector of somebody who's being threatened with bodily harm. So he wouldn't be charged as an accessory, but he would definitely be a material witness because according to Wack, he paid the ransom that allowed Future to go about his business that day and get on the airplane without being physically assaulted or worse. So he's a material witness. He's most certainly a material witness.
And then wrapped your homie up in an indictment. Let's keep going.
Call me and say, Wack, leave that alone. Out of respect to me. Future, my brother. It's exact words. Like, you my brother. I love him as a brother, as a friend. Stun, I can respect that. So now is Future telling him, yo, fuck Wack, and when you see him, get at him? But what I first got to do is extend my respect to Stunner. And I told him 2-3 times, like, bro, we got a mutual comrade that leave that alone. He kept going on. So then, okay, I'm going to give you what you're looking for.
Whoa.
He thought I was out of town because everybody.
He just said on Clubhouse that he never said Stunner's name.
Future, my brother.
You see where the fuck I'm going.
He just said on Clubhouse when one of the people who was running that, whatever that shit is, when the guy pressed him about it, and he played the audio of him saying Stunner's name. He said he never said his name.
That's only because Stunner then got at that nigga and told that nigga what the fuck he doing. And that nigga trying to clean that shit up now because Stunner probably like, bitch, something come down on me. You know, you gonna have like, you ain't gonna be a problem to nobody no more. You know what I mean? He probably got ugly like that. Like, nigga, you better clean that up. So he just trying to clean it up now. Like, you know, he just trying to clean it up now because like Stunner know that nigga, every motherfucking name you drop, nigga, that's a charge for somebody. I wish they would come get me for you running your mouth like you crazy.
Because who the fuck wants to be tied up to a federal indictment for any reason?
From a loose lip nigga, man, shut up. But that's that dry snitching though. That I was telling you, that's that dry snitching. You see what I'm saying? Like, for all we know, you know, the feds, you know, they may want Birdman for some prior shit or just, you know, just how they want every boss. You know what I'm saying? They probably want the nigga for something, and this is way, you know what I mean, of creating a circumstance for a motherfucker on that damn platform with that dry snitching, bro.
But you know what, Underdog, you took the words right out of my mouth. And I was thinking about it. I said, well, we already, you know, through this almost 2 hours we've been rocking out, broke down what open source reporting is. We broke down how he's examples of his active open source report is literally as current as an hour ago. We broke down how, to anyone who thinks it's not a real thing, it was used against President Richard Nixon while in office to get him impeached. We don't think that Wack is higher than Richard Nixon. With that all being said, do you think that this is maybe some term in some sort of way to where if he needs to, Birdman could be the next person to be indicted based off his hand?
And only thing, you know, and to me, I just feel like for him to even put a Birdman or a Stunner out there like that, his situation is really he is really in a deep situation himself that he's trying to get out of. You know, his situation probably so deep to where he'd take his chances with a Birdman than the feds. You know what I mean? So I just believe all that name dropping, that's just, and he got a long ass list of motherfuckers to tell on. He got a long list of motherfuckers to tell on, and that shit go back so far. You know what I'm saying? And man, that motherfucker the devil, man. Shit.
I mean, but shit, in this same live, you see me take it back all the way to 2006.
Man, that shit go back further than that. That's actually current compared to how long that list is and how far he can go back with that fuckery.
And I say this for the next one because I'm sure we're gonna do this again because I got a bunch of, you see, look, Underdog, you see how I'm coming. You feel me?
I see you locked and loaded, baby. I see it.
So we can also, just per the conversation, Wack 100, you know, in California, we got this 50-50 yard thing going on. Now, I ain't no penitentiary nigga, so whatever y'all do is how y'all do. I'm free. So how y'all do y'all jail time is how y'all do y'all jail time. But I say all that to say this. Wack 100, it wasn't a 50-50 yard when he was there. It was called a substance abuse yard. Don't let me lie and say what the exact acronym is, but it's for substance abuse and treatment. That's what it's for. Wack 100 allegedly was instructed by the Bloods to go ahead and put down a demonstration against someone else. When it was time for him to put down a demonstration, this man gets into a full argument with a female cop in order to get sent to the hole to avoid having to put down his demonstration. Once he's gone out of the hole, he then finishes his last 9 months of his sentence on what is now considered in California a 50-50 yard, but at the time was a treatment rehab yard. Well, that's incredible because Wack hangs his hat and has told us so famously so many times, he don't drink, he don't smoke, he's always sober. So if your biggest claim is never drinking, never smoking, being always sober, why are you on a substance abuse yard in the California Department of Corrections and Rehabilitation? That don't make no sense. Why you not over there with the Bloods on the main line? So just to your point of 2006, and you saying this earlier, shit, the nigga was locked up in the 90s.
Man, hey.
So, you know, it wasn't a 50-50 yard thing. I make the joke. It wasn't a 50-50 yard. It was a 25-25 yard, but it grew up to be a 50-50 yard for sure, for sure.
A brother, I love it. As a brother, as a friend, Stun, I can respect that. So now is Future telling him, yo, fuck Wack, and when you see him, get at him? But what I first got to do is extend my respect to Stunner. And I told him 2-3 times, like, bro, we got a mutual comrade that leave that alone. He kept going on. So then, okay, I'm going to give you what you're looking for. He thought I was out of town because everybody knew I was out of town. He didn't know I was back at the studio. So I said, you in LA? Yeah. I said, well, where you at?
You were trying to get Doughboy to pull up on you.
No, I was going to
pull up. Or you were going to pull up.
Because he was talking about, oh, homie, I like the face-to-face and all this crazy shit. So Rockstar was on his way to my studio that night. I said, well, Rockstar, this your man. You with him in LA? Yeah. Well, go get him. Pull up. So Rockstar tell me we got off the phone. He like, yo, that's a real address? He like, yeah, that's a real address. We're going to come get you. Nah, I'm cool. So you did all that for what? But another nigga gained off the clout. I just had the homie last night, Munchie B from Inglewood said, Wack, I ain't gonna lie, because Munchie blind, he lost his eyesight. You know, I ain't gonna lie. That nigga won because I didn't know who the nigga was. I learned who he was and started listening to his music. When y'all got into it? Clout.
Wait, when I got into it with him?
No, when me and this dude, whatever, what's the nigga name?
Doughboy.
Doughboy, right?
Right.
Guess they tell me from like Ohio.
So now you're listening to Doughboy.
No.
He's a talented
No,
rapper.
not me. I've never.
Oh, okay.
I just went to preview one of his songs that night.
Okay.
Because Rockstar asked me to come.
Can't hear you, Chris. Oh.
But I didn't say you had a charge, though. But I didn't say that.
Anybody
You got to put it to them.
So this is Lush and Wack arguing. We'll let y'all go after this chat, but this is Lush and Wack arguing where Wack is upset at being compared to Munchie B for the exact same thing. And I think this is a clip where Wack says he never chased Future. You know, he's denying the
Yeah, I'm just there. Okay. Hey, you need to buy a new phone, bro.
Yeah. What? I never said you. I didn't say you was in an indictment, Wack. I did not say you was in an indictment. I specifically said you.
You got
I did not.
the microphone.
I did not say he was in an indictment.
My name, like a nigga won't break your shit.
Hey, bro, I'm like the one.
Again, y'all have more knowledge of this, you know, than I do as far as like the feds and all that's concerned. My question is, how the hell is he on the internet sending these type of threats, saying that I'll break your face, I'll do this? Like, how are you not in jail?
Hey, listen, bro. Can you hear me? First of all, the content that Wack talk about, don't no real nigga get on live in front of the public and even talk like that, right? So in itself, that makes us ask the question, like, from a real nigga perspective, what the fuck are you doing, right? So I don't know, man. I'm gonna call a spade a spade. Whenever you see a motherfucker moving like that, he is on a mission. A mission for what? Okay, let's look at the nature of the content that he's exposing. And it all is a form of ratting. When you sum all this shit up, like, damn, he telling right there. From a real nigga perspective, damn, he telling right there. From a real nigga perspective, damn, he telling right there. Okay, so being that we trying to figure out, like, if real niggas don't talk like this and he's talking, what is he talking about? It's all telling. Okay, why do motherfuckers tell? Motherfuckers tell to get out of shit. You see what I'm saying? And like, for real, man, to be honest, it's kind of like if he wasn't so relevant, right, in his telling, like, this is something that you talk about and you be done with. But this is a motherfucker that you got to continue to slay because he's constantly updating his motherfucking bullshit.
As we have been talking,
we got to keep talking about it. Like, I would have loved to cut this nigga off. Like, man, I'm done talking about this nigga. It is what it is. But no, he keeps bringing us current fuckery. So we have to address that current fuckery, bro.
Underdog, I was able to bring y'all that conversation where he started listing up all them names. Nigga, that happened fucking 97 minutes ago.
Man, hey, he on a mission, bro.
It's literally
that's
up
just
to
what it
date
is.
telling.
And he on a mission, right? And I'm gonna tell you what real niggas do to niggas like that. They just stay the fuck out his way. That's what real niggas do. You see what I'm saying? But, you know, we content creators, man, you know, and I'm a baby in this shit, but shit, I ain't no fucking dummy. I don't give a fuck if I'm 2 days in this motherfucker or 3 days in this motherfucker. You walk past me with a red dress on, I'm like, she had a red dress on. I ain't no fucking dummy. Like, and you know, shit, nigga, I've been in the motherfucking streets, bro. Like, shit, the majority of my life has been impressed by the streets. So, like, man, niggas don't even fuck with niggas like this, bro. Like, niggas don't even fuck with niggas like this, right? And real niggas, for real, when this nigga encounter a real nigga, he don't even really get to circulate no more after that, because shit happens to niggas like this. You see what I'm saying? Like, shit happens to niggas like this. Niggas like this don't continue to be able to make motion in this manner. But, you know, he ain't crossing no real niggas path. Believe that. He ain't crossing no real niggas path. That's why, for real, that's why he trying to clean up or implicating a real nigga like Stunner or whatever. Like, he's trying to clear that up, because he know how ugly that can get for him, because ugly niggas deal with niggas like this way different from the clowns that he implementing in all this bullshit. It's amazing how long a nigga like this can even survive, bro. It's amazing. Like, I'm like the nigga Wayne. Like, damn, nigga, you still here? Damn, nigga, you still here? Yeah, that nigga still here doing the same bullshit, bro. Hey, almost pretty much with no recourse. The only real big problem he has is if he can't feed the feds. If he ever gets to the point to where he has nothing to feed the feds gonna dog him like he dogging everybody else. That's the real true day of reckoning for his ass right there.
You see what it's gonna come down to, and I'm just making sure I'm looking it up as I'm talking to y'all. I'll be at all them court dates. Don't worry about it. Because what we can't do is depend on these dudes to give us their version of what happened, when I could just give you guys what actually happened. And for those of you guys who are not familiar with what I have going on, I've actually been following the situation with Wack 100, doing investigative reporting docuseries for the last 4 years. So if you guys are interested in any of the things that I'm talking about, go ahead and check my YouTube channel, Trap News Network, TRAPNEWS NETWORX. Make sure you go ahead and tap in that. But you guys can check out everything that we're talking about. I'll show paperwork, I'll show pictures, I'll show proof of him being in certain places and blah, blah, blah. And don't get it twisted. As me, Underdog, and Dawgface continue, we'll bring y'all this way more. This is like one of an unknown number series, because it's so much more to break down. You feel me? Go ahead, Dawgface.
Hey, listen, I want to thank everybody for joining us tonight. So I want you guys to know that the next time y'all see us, we going up top with the visuals. We're going up top with everything. So just be aware of that. And sorry, and I apologize for any complications with the sound, the echoes that made some parts kind of like rough to listen to. But when we come back to spank ass. Pause.
So we'll give y'all this last little round, and then we'll let y'all enjoy y'all night. But it's important that y'all see this.
I'm like speaking unbiasedly and defending you. I'm like, but I'm not talking bad. Like, you can save this preamble, but I'm not like talking bad about you.
Hey, bitch, do you know what a word action is versus a charge?
No one said you had a charge, though. No one said that. No, I didn't. No, I did not say you had a charge. I never said that. I never said you had a charge. I don't know what you're talking about. I didn't say you had a charge, though. But I didn't say you had a charge, though. But I didn't say that. I didn't. Go ahead. But I didn't say that, though. But I already knew this was going to be some. I don't even know why I answered this.
Hey, listen, I ain't let you niggas meet who Wack is. And one day I'm gonna show you that.
Okay, but
you ain't gonna like.
But I'm not against you, and I didn't say anything. But like,
calm down.
Yeah. Even listen, I'm not. Like, I don't know why you tripping on me, bro. Like, I'm not.
You was just popping it.
No, I wasn't. What did I say that was popping it?
Put the microphone to the speaker.
He passed the bottle to a that killed the nigga every week. I ain't never said no like that.
No,
the thing is, I'll say it again.
That's not.
Bro.
I think.
My bad, y'all. So you know how this end up, Underdog. They just start arguing and yelling and screaming at each other. Wack did say something that was important though. He said, "You effing idiot. Do you understand what an overt act is? An overt act is basically, in a short story shorter, it's a description of what you're being charged with. It's the adjective to your felony, to your indictment. Is that a simple way to put it?
Yeah, it's like an addendum, goddamn.
That's it. So I'm gonna show you guys this, and then we'll slide out for the night. But Big U was charged with an overt act of assault on Wack 100. That comes after Big U was caught on a wiretap in a private conversation telling someone Wack 100 is an informant. I want to, quote, break his jaw, end quote. Of course, we don't think that anybody should get their jaw broken. We don't believe in that over here. But regardless of the fact, Big U said that in a private conversation. Big U's lawyer says to the court, and I quote, "There is no crime against my client admitting he wants to harm an informant on a private conversation," end quote. The federal government decides to say, you know what, Cash Roll Global, I see you. The federal government decides to say, you know what, you're 100% right. The overt act of assault doesn't apply. And then they decide to actually charge him with the assault. So Wack can say overt act, overt act, overt act. No, it's not charged, but overt acts leads to convictions. Let's play this content.
Jury unanimity issues, making it hard for the jury to be unanimous. And as the jury may properly rely on non-predicate overt acts to reach a verdict. In other words, when you're bringing in a bunch of stuff that we haven't been charged with, you may confuse the jury and have them relying on something that we haven't been charged with as just an overt act. And they may end.
Okay, so him having Wack as, one to whoop Wack feet, and Wack being a victim in the paperwork is an overt act. It's not an actual criminal charge. So yeah, Wack is in the paperwork as a victim. Yeah, Wack is in the paperwork as a victim. But nigga, that's an overt act. That ain't no criminal charge. You can't charge me for that because I want to whoop somebody's feet. You feel me? You can't charge me because I want to break somebody's jaw. So he a victim in the paperwork, but man, so what? You can want to whoop somebody. I want to go whoop out the nigga I coach the kids football team with right now. You can't charge me with a crime for that. I ain't did nothing. You feel me?
They're finding us guilty on that. Now, the government would respond to Big U, and they would say that the fear and control category encompasses charged overt acts that are direct evidence. They would go on to say the defendant's motion challenges dozens of overt acts alleged in the first superseding indictment, styled as Rule 404B concerns. That framing is backwards. The government is entitled to prove the overt acts charged in its own indictment. These are not uncharged other acts. They are part of the charged RICO conspiracy, and proof of charged overt acts requires no 404B justification. Now, the reason I was emphasizing uncharged in the last stuff that I was.
And again, Wack just said an overt act is something uncharged. Let's see where this situation goes.
Reading from Big U is because I was seeing that they were locked in on that. He kept saying, y'all saying I threatened Wack 100. I'm not charged with that. Y'all saying that I said I wanted to beat up Wack 100. I'm not charged with that. The government is now coming back and saying that, yes, you are. The fear and control.
Big U is being charged with wanting to whoop Wack 1. Tendernism. Pick the blind up, put the blind down, pick the blind up, put the blind down, pick the blind up, put the blind down. Big U, Reg Dog. Big U has officially been charged with man.
Hey, Big Rich, they got the canine dogs, and if you do something to harm that canine dog, they'll charge you. If you do something to fuck with that informant, they'll charge you. So, like we should never question whether or not he is an informant or not. And if he's an informant and you fucking with him, then it's cool. You just land in the bed with an informant. Hey, it's your prerogative. You know what I'm saying?
And Wack is a victim in the case. I said it. I told y'all. Wack was a victim in the case. Nigga, I beat the feds, nigga. I beat the feds, nigga. I keep trying to tell you niggas, bro. I beat these niggas. And I never fucked up again in life, nigga. I got off by the skin of my teeth. Nigga, I beat these niggas, bro. I told y'all. Hold on, let me write it back. Let me put the thing down, flip it and reverse it.
From Big U is because I was seeing that they were locked in on that. He kept saying, y'all saying I threatened Wack 100. I'm not charged with that. Y'all saying that I said I wanted to beat up Wack 100. I'm not charged with that. The government is now coming back and saying that, yes, you are. The fear and control category that Big U was talking about encompasses charged overt acts that are direct evidence. Again, it says these are not uncharged other acts. They are part of the RICO conspiracy, and proof of charged overt acts requires no 404B justification. So, long story short, Big U is charged with assaulting Wack 100. It says it right here in the paper.
Big U is charged with assaulting Wack 100. I didn't make it up. But when I said it, niggas wanted to take shots at my character. Niggas drug my name through the mud to hide this shit, bro. Niggas drug my name through the mud. Niggas lied. Niggas tried. Sorry about that, y'all. I was really passionate that day. I've been telling niggas some shit for 4 years and it finally hit. But with that all being said, man, Dawgface is gone. Underdog, I'm gonna tap in. Hit me on Instagram, and I'm gonna send. Tell Dawgface to give you my number, and then we'll figure it out from there.
All right, I think I already put that follow it on there, so we're good on Instagram.
Send me a DM because I don't be looking at that shit, but I go look at my request right now.
All right, bro. Peace.
All right, man. God bless, man. God bless. We appreciate Dawgface for being in here. Real quick, chat. If y'all want to continue on, we appreciate y'all being a part of Trap News Network. We appreciate y'all rocking out with us. This whole situation with Wack 100 has been barnacles. Barnacles. When I say that this situation has been crazy, For my regulars in the chat, y'all know what time it is.
Beat the brakes out of the Tony Montana rapper. One of his security guards named Roscoe was allegedly caught up in the mess or got messed up in the melee. He was rushed to a local LA hospital. The club, the Graceful Manor, was shut down for the night.
So now we have academics talking about who allegedly whooped out Future. Let's jump into this content. Let's get into it. Let's go.
Following the incident, helicopters patrolled the parking lot to make sure the area was safe. Now, Wack had told us about this story, and he basically kind of described it just like how this happened, except he gave more detail. He said, yo, they surrounded club security and everything, and basically when the gang...
And it's crazy because in Wack's last pieces of content, he was saying how it happened at a hotel. And here you have academics making it clear that this in fact did happen at a club.
Members of LA want to do something, you have insecurity or security at the club, knowing that they live in LA, they want no sauce. So, Future narrowly escapes a vicious...
Real quick to y'all, I'm finna remove Dawgface and I'm finna remove Underdog from the chat. So if you guys from the live, so if you guys want to continue to watch this, it's on my page, Trap News Network, and we'll dive deeper into some of these things. But I am about to remove Dawgface and Underdog from the chat. So make sure that y'all are in fact tapped in, because if you are watching from their YouTube channels, Dawgface's channel specifically, you will have to come find it on the Trap News Network, and then I'll be live. So make sure y'all get into that. Chat, y'all know what time it is with me. I just don't want to hold I don't want to hold they chat hostage. You feel me? Is Henny still in here? God damn. Henny